Alright, welcome to another day of Ether Rays. We're taking on Cockroach here, and we're gonna go with I wasn't really sure. I'm like super tired, so I'm not even sure if this is the right team to be using here. I was thinking maybe I should use the Marth team, but then I don't know. I figured let's just go with the Byleth team because maybe I can make it work. But I think I might have made a mistake here because I think I messed up the ranges here. And I don't have a way to get, I didn't have a way to get all of my units to safety. So this one was pretty much chalked right away. Ultimately, I just surrendered this one. Pre-recorded. Pre-recorded. So yeah, that one was chalked. So that was a loss. And then we moved into the next match here against Jarj. And this one was also a loss. I did some bad positional plays here. It could have been a win, but I just didn't play well in terms of my setup at the middle of the match. Or no, probably at the start of the match, because what I end up doing here is I break a structure, and I should not have broken that structure. Maybe I could have gotten away with it still if I had left it. Even if I had... I shouldn't have broken the structure. Because what ended up happening was that I just didn't have anyone that could take out Ivy. And she came down in that lane there that didn't have... Or, as you can see here, only has healer support. Or healers for combat, and Elamine isn't killing anything.
Come on,
I really should consider changing her B skill, but I really do enjoy the cancel. But since I was running it like this, I probably could have changed her B skill because typically she only gets cancel 1. Could have probably changed it to like Holy Pressure or what am I saying? Poetic Justice or something like that. Since I do have the fodder for it. Because I'm not building that many healers. What was interesting though was Leon here is going to get actually absolutely destroyed here. I had full started Ivy, so she's not going to get her extra movement. There is a possibility of a dance happening, which I was concerned about, which is why I had it set up like this. But Ivy doesn't take the bait. Or more importantly, Azura doesn't take the bait. She dances for Mortis here. And I was also worried about that Yunaka versus Sita. I was worried about that matchup, but it ended up being a cakewalk for Sita. So this is a +10 Yunaka here on defense. So I thought it would be a lot more damage, especially after fighting Leon. But it ended up not mattering in the slightest. Leon coming in here doing 0, which is not the case if you're running this. If you run into this in summoner duels, don't do that. She will die. Don't do that. Yeah, pretty much 3 damage. I really thought +10 Yunaka would have cooked a lot more into the Sita, but also had to take into consideration the fact that Sita was eating the Dark Shrine, so that kind of impacted her bulk. But yeah, this is the problem right here. I ended up not being able to get out of the way or to get over to where I needed my unit to be. Because 1, I needed to take out Golvig, and 2, Ivy was going to get her 3 movement this turn. So I needed to essentially get Sita to the spot where Golvig is, but in order to get to that spot, I would have to take out Golvig, and Golvig is getting covered by Farsaved, and I have no other melee units. So, quite the conundrum there. I think that was bad play for me, because if I hadn't broken that spot, then I could have just blocked that lane right there above the structure, whatever the fortress. Block that lane where the fortress is, and then Ivy would have been forced to enter combat against Sheeta, which is also something that I found completely surprising, that depending on how you or who
As
you
you
partner
say.
Ivy with, she can even take out the Sita, which is quite surprising. Um, Ivy's best support partner is
I can do
Camilla
this.
by far, because she gets the damage piercing on every hit. So she just does way more damage that way. So if you're like running a flyer line, that's definitely something that you should consider pairing her with. She doesn't need the charge support because she does get that extra movement, although I guess it pairs well because mobility is king. So if you have, or if your unit ends up getting stalled or something, that's a great way to counter that when you have charge. But yeah, Camilla is really her best support, because legendary Camilla, because she is able to get that DR shred. Now, the Marth ring on Ivy really isn't the best thing, I would say. I guess it does change the point of impact in terms of when that damage piercing special is going to hit, because if it hits on the follow-up attack, you get less damage out of it.
I will
But
get us there.
special, it's really just special manipulation. I don't really think it does the best for her. And as you can see here, this is just me trying to figure out where to put my unit, and ultimately there's really no position that I can place this Sita in that will help me out to get out of the match here successfully without taking a unit loss. But yeah, it's really just special manipulation. You probably would even be better off running Astra or something if you're going to give her the Marth ring, but ultimately I think Luna is her best special because it puts out so much damage. Otherwise, Astra is probably the best thing to go with. Probably even Flare, I guess, if you want to do that.
Come on, let's go.
What do I have Flare on? I have Flare on, I think I have Flare on my Sonya, my rearmed Sonya, I think. I'm not sure, but I don't have a lot of copies of that, so I guess I could probably get it from the codes and then give it to Ivy that way, but Ivy already has so much fodder on her that I don't want to, I don't really want to put anything else. And as you can see here with the setup, there's no way that Veil is going to survive the combat here. I already knew she was dead because she is not going to meet the speed check. Yeah, no bueno here. I was hoping for potentially a one-shot, but bonus Ivy here just has enough HP to live, and I didn't realize that the what is this, iceberg? Yeah, I didn't realize that the iceberg was in charge, so no go.
So I am a defense.
Bam, bam, bam. And yeah, that's pretty much it. She goes back in here, but she's already so low in terms of health, and she's actually outspeeding Sita here, which is crazy. That's crazy, and I didn't like. I know that because I have no follow-up equipped. But yeah, down she goes. Yeah, and that's enough for me here. This is the last day of the week, so I would have had. I didn't lose any ladders up until this point, so I had all 7 ladders, and we're going into what this is the 3rd attempt here against another really, these have all been really good defenses so far that I've lost to. Even that one with the Ivy there, I thought that setup was also particularly good in comparison to what I was running, at least. My defense, as you'll see later on, which I do have the defense replays attached to this, my defense didn't do particularly well this go around, even though, I mean, I still stayed in tier 38, so I guess it's not the worst thing in the world, but it was undesirable. Definitely want to make some changes. Definitely some things that I have to think about. And for this one, really what I wanted to avoid was the AoE, but there's no way that I was ever going to be able to avoid the AoE from Igrin here, who is able to kill Sita, because AoE damage, she just isn't able to do too much about that, which is one of her weaknesses. I full started one, but the other one, not much you can do because Freyr is there. So yeah, she's pretty much dead. If the other green gets danced, Mirabilis here has Tempest, no weapon equipped, so she's gonna dance someone. And then Ivy here, who is actually the biggest threat because she's a fire and she's capable of, well, as you can see, the map layout here is geared towards flower mobility, so she's able to, with the extra movement, snipe one of my units. I was considering bringing Byleth, but Byleth versus Ygritte typically doesn't go in Byleth's favor. And then Ivy also is able to just kill Byleth, so not a lot of good matchups here. And as you can see, the well-executed dance trap there just snipes Hortensia. Not much I could do about that. It worked really well because the unit that's locked here is, what's his face? Surtur. So he was never going to get danced because he was boxed in. But GG's again, another loss, and we're now against Plug 2. This was the last one, I believe. This one, I think I got the win finally after like 3 losses. It's crazy going down that many ladders in a row. But that's typically what happens when you're tired. I was just way too exhausted to even record afterwards, or even during the matches. I was just so tired. It's like, alright, I'm gonna just put this out whenever. I have no energy to do this. So I was just trying to get through the matches as quickly as possible here. And this one is definitely a Byleth matchup because the only thing you have to do here is stop Camilla. And I can do that because I have False Start. And the lanes here don't overlap exactly the best. The only thing that could potentially throw that into like some type of quandary would be the dance from Mirabilis, but she's not going to be able to dance anyone that is going to threaten me this go around. You have, or at least I have, the choice between charge or damage piercing, and that's like an obvious choice. I mean, come on, damage reduction piercing is a big problem, especially when you're running saves, so that's definitely what you want to avoid. And set up at the extreme bottom here because I know that's where the extent of the unit, extent of the enemy's range is, so that's pretty much all I need to do. I'd probably recommend changing this map. This is pretty much all flyers. I'd recommend changing this map to get more coverage and more unpredictability. I'd recommend the flyer map. It's definitely better than this one, or even the map that I use a lot. The forest map. The forest map that looks like the fairy map. That one I'd recommend as a substitute because it's really easy on this map to just go up with melee or range and take out one of his units. And this is just easy cleanup. Again, I gotta say I really enjoyed having this Hortensia as a bonus unit for this past couple of weeks. Really fun to use. Although I don't think she'll stick around because even though that neutralized penalty effect is really good on Peony, Peony's a dancer, so that really works out better for me. Yeah, when it comes to offense, dancers have more value, for me at least, than an extra healer or another unit that does something. Well, ultimately, Hortensia doesn't do enough for me to validate bringing her in place of a dancer, or let's say someone like Garrick who offers that pulse cooldown and everything else that Garrick does. Yeah, Hortensia doesn't get to that level. Not that she's bad, but that she'd have to do significantly more for me to contemplate bringing her over one of those options, or over someone like that. But yeah, very good unit. The effect is also very good, and the cancel mobility The guaranteed cancel, well, it's not guaranteed, but the cancel 1 mobility option is also like really useful to have around. But yeah, looking forward to see what other options I can incorporate as the rest of the weeks come. More importantly, I'm kind of like just looking forward to the emblem banner at the end of the month to see who will be our emblem option,
Close your eyes.
so I can start making better plans in terms of summoning. There are a couple banners out right now that I want to summon on, and I just haven't gotten around to it yet because I'm just waiting to see what comes out. So yeah, there's that. Hanoka just failing to kill, but I got like so cooked in Summoner Duels regular vanilla by a full Mortis with the B skill that Byleth has, Weaving Fighter, I think.
I can handle it.
It's a really strong B skill. Like sometimes I undervalue it because against even someone like Hanoka, for Mortis was actually holding his own. Which typically isn't the case. Like he falls pretty easily to Hanoka without something like Weaving Fighter or Hardy Fighter. So yeah, there's a lot of value in this skill. I'm kind of looking forward to it being in Hall of Forms with some additional armored units, but GG's. Alright, so we are going into the defense replays now. That's the end of the Aetherites offensive matchups. So let's see what we did on defense. This is the first match of the week. And for this one, I think we're going to get clapped by the Bull Tower if memory serves. Nothing we can really do about Bull Tower in Astra Anima. Well, lies. There are options, but there are options that significantly reduce my firepower. And the alternative would be to run something hyper offensive that goes on turn 1. And I don't always want to do that, so yeah, there's really not much to see here. Once your units are down to, low health, there really isn't much that you can do against that. You're just gonna get clobbered here. And as you can see, that's exactly what's happening. So I'm just like clicking through this to make it go as quickly as possible. I forgot to turn on the replays here, my bad, but this that's pretty much how it ended up. We got this first one of the week, which took us out of, well, I was already out of tier 30 because that one brought me down to that's like the first 10 minutes the defense lost, and I was like, well, this isn't going to be a good week. And that's exactly what happened on defense. We got absolutely clobbered by Edelgard's Winter Edelgard. This one, though, we got away with it, to my surprise, because, well, no, I wasn't surprised about this first one. I was like, okay, the defense is working. That was my final thoughts after this first matchup here. I was like, okay, the defense is doing its job, but
I insist.
Ultimately what happened was things went super left afterwards. Yeah, I wasn't sure why Ephraim wasn't getting the damage reduction from his Armored Blaze. And I think it has to do with the special cooldown, so I might do something about that if I do intend to run something like this again. But what happened here is that Mir's effect kicked in, so they're no longer able to warp around. And also, being at 1 health with no healing tower, it's very difficult to initiate from this point. So they're waiting on my defense to come down, which it will do, but it won't be in a manner that will allow them to initiate from melee range. And Yuri isn't able to get through Mir, so they're just waiting for the defense to get separated here, and that doesn't happen. And this Cavaser, I really, really love this infantry Cavaser. I want to incorporate her more in my defense, but it's just so difficult to do. She is a lot like Brave Marianne. Yeah, that's who I was trying to remember. She's a lot like Brave Marianne, but I feel better because of the flash in her weapon, and I really love the flash effect that she offers, as well as that right there, that Times Gate. It is so good that I really just want to find a way to fit her in more, but I don't know if she needs merges or because she misses the speed check quite a bit, and also I feel like that's the problem. She's missing the speed check, and she needs no follow-up and merges. So I'm probably going to pick up the one copy and merge that from the codes, and then figure out how to get her to keep meeting the speed checks, because she is just so good. So good. But yeah, it's difficult to fit everyone into every team these days. But in any case, this was the second match or the third match. Don't remember what happened here. I think this one was Bolt Tower again, if I'm not mistaken. And just by the looks of it, since my team does have a lot of warp in it, you'd think that Ratatosker is someone that could counter my setup because of the terrain green, but it really does depend on how the opponent plays. And yeah, this is a Bolt Tower play. It's a lot of damage, but not much, again, that your unit can do when they're down to like 0 health. It's pretty easy for them from here to just snipe everything and get away, but the one thing that they didn't account for was Golvig on Golvig murder. And yeah, really not much else that my team is able to do. Well, if certain scenarios had worked out in my favor there, it would have been better, but from there it's pretty easy for them to clean up, and that's what they did. And they finished out the pods and everything and just took that match for themselves and ran away. This one, I mean, level up your units, man. Come on. Ivy's a good unit. Definitely worth at least leveling up. And they're going to go in with Dimitri here, who has bonus tempo, I believe. But it doesn't really matter, because what he really needs is Bandage and the ability to pull that off. So they go in with some smite plays here. Dimitri is able to kill Ephraim quite consistently, just because he does a butt ton of damage, especially when he's running no quarter. But they're really waiting to go in here because of the trap. They eventually find the trap and find out that it's real. They back out, dance, and get away, and they wait one more turn. They are going to go in on the next turn just to get my defense moving, or really to get Dimitri to solo everything here, but it's not going to work out for them, because that is not no quarter. If it was no quarter, Ephraim would have been dead, but that is Miracle instead. Let me show you here. Miracle, which is kinda dumb. Interesting strategy, but I mean, on Dimitri it makes no sense, because if he doesn't have the killing potential, if he misses the kill, he's dead. He's gonna get outsped and die, which is exactly what happens here. No quarter would have guaranteed him the kill there, and outsped, dies. The problem is the Panic Smoke didn't hit Golvig. The Panic Smoke 4, it didn't hit Golvig, and yeah, without the Panic Smoke 4, he's not winning a lot of speed checks unless you have him like super invested. But yeah, without the Panic Smoke 4, he's really not going to win the speed check, and he's going to do even less damage. So yeah, Golvig was able to just destroy him.
So I am a defect.
Love the fact that she jumps over the terrain here. Oh man, that's cute. But yeah, that's the win, and from here we get like a bunch of losses, primarily to Edelgard here. I tried to, after this match, invest a little bit more into Ephraim, but I mean, that's a one shot, and again, his Armored Blaze didn't even kick in. But even after I tried to invest a bit more into Ephraim, it didn't work out. I'm just clicking through these because, I mean, it's pretty obvious what's happening here. Yeah, pretty obvious. Wings of Mercy 4, everyone can swoop in. Chez gets locked down. And that's that. It's really... I think I was saying the other day that if there's ever going to be another unit, a Gatekeeper alts, I think Gatekeeper would make a great save unit. if he were to ever get an ult, a great armored unit. But I don't see that ever happening because Gatekeeper is basically the only unit that has Warp Bubble or whatever that effect is called active from turn 1. So there's no way that, well, at least in this meta of the game, that they're going to ever do that. I mean, every other Brave unit has already gotten an ult. Ephraim, Veronica, Celica, Hector, every single one of them. Seliph has ults in the game, Chrom has ults in the game, Corrin has so many ults, but there's only one Gatekeeper, and they did that for a reason, because that effect is actually very strong. And as you can see with Myr here, hers doesn't even activate on turn 1. It doesn't come into play until turn 2, and she's still getting one shot by Edelgard here, so it doesn't even matter that much. So yeah, still working on that perfect Edelgard counter. I think Ephraim can do it. It's just because I would need to lay out my map differently, and I don't really want to do that. So what I'm thinking is I'm going to test out to see if I can get the cooldown for Armored Blaze down by 1 more, just to see if that impacts whether or not he can survive that first hit. If he can survive that first hit and then counterattack, you can see all the numbers there. They were pretty high. I'm pretty sure he should be able to take out Winter Edelgard if he's able to counterattack with the Brave effect. So we'll see how that pans out. It's very disappointing that after his bonus season, he's just not standing up to the menace of Winter Edelgard, because that's really what I summoned him to do. But if he's not doing that, then I might probably end up foddering him for the Armored Blaze to put that on someone else. I don't know who. We'll see. This opponent here made a critical error in his positioning. Or perhaps he intended for it to work out that way. I don't know. Maybe he wanted Marth here to be a frontliner and then Byleth to cover a save. But if he had just let Marth do this by himself, he would have soloed my defense here, because Marth would have been able to just do it. But as you can see here, Byleth is going to get clapped.
I'll put you in your place.
I slipped up.
GG's. And that was the only kill that I was able to get, because as I said, Marth with Special Spiral 4 kills everyone on my team. So there's no way I was ever going to get through Brave Marth here. Bad positional play from the opponent there. And we get away with that one. And then from there, as you can see, nothing but losses. Nothing but losses. I think I picked up one last win within the final couple hours, but I didn't bother reporting it. Didn't matter. And I was too tired anyway, so yeah. Now, the trick to beating this... what's his face again? The trick to beating this Alir is to kill one of the support units and then go after Alir. But the problem here is that I didn't calculate for the fact that people would start bringing Myr on offense, and she has Warp Bubble from turn 1, and she can support that to anyone. She has it supported on Plumeria on this go around, and because of that, my units are not able to warp in. So that kind of that kind of ruined things. Kvaser is able to kill this Alir, but she couldn't get in, so there's no way she's gonna win if she can't attack. So GG's. No way I'm gonna win that one because of the Warp Bubble. And then this one is another Bull Tower play. I was quite surprised, actually. This Ninjurin has a fantastic build. She has the Occultist Strike build, and she's able to put out a lot of true damage because of that. Because I can't think of another way that I should have been able to scratch Myr. So with Occultist Strike, they're putting in quite a bit of work. So I think that's a really good build on Ninjurin, and then from there, it's pretty easy to see what happens. They have all the actions in the world to clean up, And then again, another. Well, I think this one was just. If I'm not mistaken, I think this one was just Leon being able to kill Mer. I don't think they needed the bolt tower for this one. Leon was strong enough to just kill Mer with the drive support from Peony here. And they had isolation on my dancer, which is unfortunate. So I wasn't able to reach as far as I would have liked. And also, Shez gets locked here because she's the fastest unit on the team. There you go. And I'm just not able to chase.
I have faith.
And he could have done a lot more too if he had went the route of taking out Cordelia. He would have been able to activate his dual skill and just shut down even more of the team. But he chose not to do that. Smart move, I guess. You don't want to overcommit sometimes, and that's a mistake I made in summoner duels with Leon. I overcommitted to get the lockdown on an opponent. They had their units in a line, and I overcommitted. I was like, oh, this is perfect. I can shut down their entire team. And I did it, but then I didn't have a follow-up play for the turn after that, so I ended up losing the match, which is crazy. But yeah, man, that's pretty much it. Wasn't the worst season I've ever had, but definitely got to make some changes. As you can see, Gato is bonus, so that means no AoEs, but we do have Bolt Tower, which means Menace is pretty much mandatory. I was considering running this defense, which is the second defense that I build, but Makaya kind of let me down in terms of damage output, so there's that. But yeah, that's pretty much it, man. I'm exhausted at this point, so GG's. See you in the next one.